All right, welcome to another one from the Outdoor Analyst. I've got a ridiculous one for you today. Basically, this looks like Rambo's knife. It's from Mossy Oak. Now, Mossy Oak reached out and asked me if I wanted to do some budget knives, and I actually said yes. I have not looked at anything like this in a long time. So they sent me a few out here. Actually, another really big Bowie knife, which you'll see the review. It might happen before this one or after, but I'm pretty impressed with it so far. I'm hoping this one actually turns out to be the same way. This is 3CR13 steel. This just says stainless steel on here and Overwatch, but it is essentially their tactical Bowie, and it's a big knife. It's a 10-inch blade, 16 inches overall. Believe it's Full-tang. Very comfortable rubber handle, actually. Plastic up top, rubber in the middle. Surprisingly comfortable. Now, fed and finished, like you can see gaps on stuff, and you can see it thins out on the tang as it goes through. But I do believe this is a Full-tang, and it says stainless. I'm actually going to guess this is 3CR13 as well, which is kind of like 420, which is very tough stainless steel. Not good edge retention, but very tough. Now, this edge, as soon as I pulled out a box, I actually knew it had a really, really good edge to it. So it's a big knife, and it's not super comfortable to choke up on because it has such a good guard. It has a big guard on here, but I just had a feeling this thing would actually, yeah, it dives in pretty well. This is a weird piece of wood. Maybe I can get something that's a little bit less crazy on there. This stuff's been sitting out here, getting rained on. It's kind of a mix of hardwood, not, well, it actually is pine, I believe. No, this isn't pine. What is this stuff? It's definitely seasoned, we'll put it at that. Now, this thing does not feel super comfortable to do this because I'm pretty far away, but it will absolutely feather. Like, they put a good edge on this knife. I am not gonna lie, they put a good edge on it. It's, I think, 3CR, a super low saber. It almost looks like a Scandi with a V, with like a V edge on the end, but I'm just gonna call it a really low saber because I think that's really what it technically is. And yeah, if it didn't have the top guard and choked up on here, I actually think this thing would feather really, really, really well. And it would do it for a decent amount of time. Wood is not very abrasive on a knife. It's just not. Which is why we're gonna test this out with some little harder stuff. This is seasoned, been out here. We're gonna baton. We're gonna see, can this knife handle a beating? Just in case, hey, your kids get this at a white elephant gift, or all of a sudden you get a crazy gift from your aunt and this is in it because you got an outdoor kid. If they go and do something crazy like this, can the knife handle it? And that's what I think. You're gonna have no issues, but I just kind of want to test this out because I actually think this is either going to a younger crowd or maybe a newer crowd in knives, and if they do some crazy things, just want to make sure they're going to be okay. Really, I think the answer is yes. Everybody's going to be fine. This is actually fairly tough stuff. This is a tough little log that's not bending, but we're splitting right through it, no issues. Well, I'm happy right now. I'm actually really happy with this thing. Now, these serrations on here are not usable as far as like a saw. They're not sharp, super sharp. I don't think they're really usable. I could be wrong, and you know what? We'll test it, actually. We'll test it just a little bit. Let's see, can you see this? Are we gonna be able to get anything in? Yeah. They are not really set up to bite or saw in any way, shape, or form. So they're for looks. You got the Rambo looks. That's fine. We're all kind of guessing it. Now, what I do like about this is it has a plastic insert on this nylon sheath. Pretty cheap feeling sheath, but the insert keeps you safe. I did have a little bit of an issue of the edge kind of poking out of the leather sheath on this one. I actually would prefer this sheath on all of them. Absolutely. Any edge damage? No, none batoning, which is wonderful. Actually, the coating, not too shabby. Doesn't look too awful on there. So honestly, this is a cool little knife. Let me just look and see what this thing is going for. This is like 17 bucks right now. if I was a kid and I got this for Christmas, I would be over ecstatic, out of my mind. Oops, smack the camera again. Maybe I should have it a little further away. It actually is pretty darn impressive, and this is comfortable. I think it is full-tang through here, so you could put it through some tougher stuff than this. But dang, I'm a fan, honestly. If I had a chance and I could say, hey, could I get a Mora for Christmas or the big O Bowie? Now, I know in my heart the answer should be I would want a Mora, and I want my little one to have a Mora too, because I know he'd get more use out of it long run. But would my son have more fun with a big old Bowie knife that I know he's going to beat the crap out of and have to learn to resharpen fairly frequently? Probably going to get more use out of the big Bowie, honestly. Yeah, it does. It has a great edge, guys. Like, it really does. China has crushed these edges. So props to whoever Mossy Oak is manufacturing this with. I'm a big fan. I actually am. Now, the sheath comes with a little fire starter and also a little sharpener on the back end. Trust me, you're going to be using that sharpener, which is just fine. But I love this plastic insert because when you're dealing with knives that are usually really cheap, usually you get cheap sheaths and they're just pure nylon or really cheap leather. The insert here is the game changer. And it is a little harder to snap this one because it is pretty far out. But this is actually probably the sheath I'd want. I would definitely want to have that plastic insert because it doesn't wiggle, it doesn't rattle, it keeps it safe from actually poking out. Got some fun little fire starters and a little sharpener back there, which I do think is cool. And honestly, I've got two of these things here. I love the looks of like the wood Bowie, honestly. They're both pretty comfortable in hand. I think they're both pretty darn tough, honestly. For doing little stuff, you can choke up a little bit more on this. For swinging around, I'd probably rather have the guard on here. And this thing just looks like Rambo's knife, honestly, which is freaking cool. But since these are a fun comparison from Mossy Oak, this one's a little bit bigger in the blade, a little true Bowie style, little Rambo style versus, you know, a little Wild West. So these are cool. I'm not gonna lie, 20 bucks. This puts a smile on my face. Actually, it's less than that. I think this is like 17. This does put a smile. It does have a good edge. You're just gonna be resharpening it quite a bit because I am fairly certain it's 3CR, so think 420. That's what it is. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough as nails, honestly, and pretty darn stainless. So as long as you're okay with resharpening this sucker every now and then, this is a fun gift. Or if you see one at the White Elephant Exchange, don't feel bad to pick it up. It's gonna be cool. All right, I'll have links below below down there. If you do want just a ridiculous gift, this is kind of cool. It's not a gimmick. It works. All right, catch you on the next one.